That's right, welcome back to the Electro Lurker. Today I'm dressed like this in celebration of Season 2 of Jersey Shore starting tonight. Yo bro, come at me bro. That's one punch, that's one punch. We go to the gym, we take it seriously. We take seriously what we eat after the gym. This is serious life. Come at me bro, that's one punch. But yeah, anyway, Jersey Shore is actually kind of a fitting theme for today. This week we're continuing this whole discussion of beef in the electro world. So MONTREAL has released another video of yet another high-ranking electro dancer giving his opinions about beef. And this time I'm talking, of course, about the Fashion Fab video that released on Electro Dance Montreal's channel yesterday. And Fashion Fab, for those of you who don't know, he's probably one of the top 3 electro dancers in Montreal. Therefore, by default, that would probably make him top 3 in North America, I would say. So, and this video, basically, it's kind of like the Shabba Real Talk video. It took place, I'm guessing, at that same session. And except this one, it's more directed to one dancer in particular. I couldn't really catch his name because Fab's accent is kind of thick. It's an African French accent. But it sounds like it's directed to this one guy. And it sounds like what basically happened with this one guy is that at the start he came up to Fashion Fab. Like when he was first starting out, he approached Fashion Fab. And Fab kind of showed him the ropes, showed him a few moves. And then as time went on, this one particular guy got more powerful and more powerful. And Fab said that there was a point even when this other guy was probably even better than him. But then what happened, apparently it sounds like fame went to his head. And he started being like hypocritical with the other dancers and playing games. And now there's beef between him and Fab. And it sounds at the end of the video, Fab basically says like, yo, if you come up to me, something's gonna happen. So it sounds like people are about to get capped up in Montreal. But the reason I wanted to bring up this video is because, you know, I've been going to hardcore shows since I was, since 2003. And we see this every year in the hardcore scene. We call this the stepping stone phenomenon. This is when people come in and they use basically other people to vault themselves up to like some kind of a position that they think makes them better than everyone else. And then once they reach this position, they then come in with like, you know, arm candy around their hand and with like an outfit that they spent like hundreds of dollars on, looking down at everyone else. And what Fab is saying is that the community is too small to be playing these kind of games. The community is too small to be, you know, using people and looking down at other people just because you think you've reached some kind of plateau. So again, he's talking about one dancer in particular, but I think that this can be applied to any scene, and I think that it's only a matter of time before people like this start showing up in other communities like the States. The boom in the States is relatively new. The States really started getting booming around like 2009, but I think soon you're going to start to see a lot of these guys coming in. So just remember, the community is too small to be playing these type of games, and this ties back into what Shabba was saying. You know, instead of starting beef, instead of worrying about like your own agenda, first try to get the community moving forward. Then once the community is, well, I don't think there'll ever be really a position where you could say like, okay, the community is at a good place now, I can just focus on myself. You know, you always got to try to move the community forward, move the dance forward. So really interesting, and I believe Reyes also is making a video where he gives his opinions about beef. It's not out yet, but it should be out in time for the next Lurker. And this should be an interesting one because, like I said, Reyes comes from the East Coast, so he's got that whole hip-hop perspective because that's where battling started. That's where crews started, so I think that's going to be a really interesting video. So now I want to talk about two battles in particular that I think are going to be really significant for North America. First battle is, of course, Look My Electro #2 in Montreal, which takes place this weekend. And this battle is going to be all 1000% and 1 versus 1. And the big battle, the kind of headlining battle, is Zazu versus Archange. But the thing is that Montreal isn't really a stranger to epic battles, seeing as it's kind of like it's probably North America's biggest community, but it's still a relatively like small and tight-knit community. So pretty much like everyone has gone against everyone at some point or another. But the thing that's different about this time is that now there is the Electro Montreal Facebook page and the YouTube page. Because like I was saying a couple weeks ago, if you want to learn about Montreal, you basically have to navigate what can only be described as a maze of channels. Like I remember for a Real Level Battle 1, which took place a few weeks ago, there was 3 channels made just for this one event. And all the other videos are kind of scattered all over the place. But now some of the dancers in there have got together and they decided to make this one channel, which is going to be kind of like a one-stop shop for Montreal. So I think that this is going to really make Montreal accessible to the rest of the world, and a lot of other people are going to get stoked. And I mean, Montreal is already pretty big in France. Like if you go on Facebook, it's not uncommon to see like KV or one of these guys talking to someone from one of the big crews over in France. But I think now like other places in Europe and also South America and even the States are going to start taking notice of Montreal. And second battle that I want to talk about is Major League Electro Part 2, which takes place in August. The lineup was just announced, and I think that this is going to be probably a huge battle for the United States, because it's going to show the rest of the world, Europe in particular, that United States isn't just a nation that's starting out anymore. Now they're a nation that by 2012 could probably walk into the World Championships in France and actually shut other teams down. And like you know, there's some big names in this, Dots and Jinno, Stezzy, and I think Bones are in a team. So these guys are, and also there's a lot of other teams that are really talented that I think are going to show the Europe that America has the talent to compete at a European level. And there's also teams like Alexo and VogUe, which I think are going to show the rest of the world that United States isn't afraid to step outside of the box. Because like, you know, if a lot of people in the United States are aiming here, like trying to aim to get to the level of like RK or Electro Street, Alexo and VogUe, they're aiming like over here. Like, you know, Alexo was the first guy in the United States, or one of the first guys to start doing like 3-dimensional dancing, going up and down, front to back. He was also one of the first guys in the States to start using like surrounding objects and surrounding structures in his moves, like, you know, doing moves like on your ear, going around over the lamp and stuff like that. Also, VogUe, traditional is one word that VogUe definitely does not stick to. So I think like you're gonna see a lot of really interesting stuff from that team, a lot of really interpretive stuff that you've never seen before. And then guys like Stezzy and Dots, they're gonna come in and really drill some hard lines in, and the internet is just gonna explode. So by the end of the summer, overall North America is definitely going to, I think Europe's and South America's view of North America is going to be really changed around by the end of the summer. So we'll see what happens with that. So stay tuned for next week. All right, Pete.